The next time I'm in the ring with Roman Reigns, it will be to stomp his head into the ground.
Something happened.
If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Acknowledge us.
Hey, this is Turnbuckle King here, Red Carpet Ring here, guys. We're here to talk about WWE Raw as the Bloodlines recruit Seth Rollins. We're talking about Monday Night Raw for November 11th. And of course, we are here at the ring. You guys get the lights as we come in. Also, we're going to talk about bonus round. We'll talk about will Damian Priest be world champ again, and we'll go over current news. So let's get into it. We're here live on Facebook and X as well, guys. So let's get it going. Talk about Raw. We are headed to get prepared for Survivor Series. That will be November 30th. So before we do go any further, let's do that one thing that I always have you guys do.
Not real.
Trust me.
But that doesn't do anything, man.
All right, guys, this is it. We're definitely here. So, like I said, we're preparing for Survivor Series. We're preparing for everything. We're making sure that we're getting ready for the main matches. Some matches been announced. Some matches going to be announced because you know this Raw was taped, and also next week's Raw will be taped as well. So I know there's spoilers out there and everything. I'm aware of all of that, but still got to cover the show. Now, I will not discuss no spoilers on here, however. That I'm not going to do. I will say the show will be a lot to discuss here. We're going to see what else going on. We definitely going to get into this whole Monday Night Raw. So, can't believe we almost had Survivor Series already. We just had Crown Jewel. We just had that event. And now we headed to Survivor Series, which will be about another 3 weeks. Like I said, guys, let's talk about it, though. Let's definitely talk about it. So let's get to that in a second. Talk about this Raw. And the team's pretty much going to be formed or starting to be formed. So let's get prepared for that. Definitely going to prepare for that as we go along. Well, than that, though, guys, we here. So, give me 1 second. Let's pull up the match card for Raw. Let's go over that, by the way. Let's see what was the Raw match card. We'll go over right now. Let's go over that right now, actually. So we'll go over the match advertised, and then we'll go over which ones actually happened, and we'll go over match one by one. Now, the match card here, we had Gunther come out to cut a promo with Damian Priest, the new number one contender for the world title. We got Bronson Reed coming out for a promo. And of course, the main event will be the women's tag team title match. Bianca, Belair, and Jade, Cargill, the tag team champions, versus Liv Morgan, the women's world champion, and Raquel Rodriguez. So let's get over to the first part of the show. We kick off this show with Gunther. Cut a promo. Now Gunther, he cut a promo. He said that Damian Priest, he got to face him, but he really didn't say much. He just said that before he could get anything, Damian Priest came and interrupted him. Now, Damian Priest, he told Gunther that he's the monster. He actually, I think they're going off Gunther. He also said too that he, despite losing to Cody Rhodes and Crown Jewel, he's still dominant force. And Damian Priest mentioned that too. He said, "You'll show yourself. You're not the same guy you was, the force you was, the indestructible force." He said at first you lost to Cody Rhodes. That was mentioned. And then he also said, I already know what you're going to say before he said, you're going to call him street trash. You're gonna talk bad about Damian Priest and how he could have been better having both his parents in his life. And Gunther was just speechless, which is something we normally do not get. Gunther normally not speechless like that. However, in the middle of the promo, we see Kaiser come out, and he was going off on Damian, and then Gunther cut him off. As you see it in the last still there, he stopped him on a mic. And Kaiser said, I can't let the street trash talk to you like that, showing that there's going to be some type of animosity. They're building some animosity between Kaiser and Gunther. However, when Kaiser was done talking to Gunther, he turned around. That's when Damian decked him. And Damian threw him out the ring. And then he turned around, look at Gunther. You see like he was going to attack Damian from behind. But I guess they're slowing Gunther down, make him look weaker because he don't look as dominant. But they're building Damian up. Remember, Damian has a one-on-one rematch for the world title, for the title that he lost at SummerSlam. He never got the proper rematch. So let's get into that. Let's see. Mr. Gilbert reaction salute. Yeah, let's get more into that. Now that was the end of that promo, by the way. Next part of the show, let's get into it. We had a 6-woman tag match. Before the match started, we had the return of Dakota Kai. The fans was happy. She was back. This was in the backstage segment with Kathy Kelly. She was hugging her girls at Damage CTRL, saying she's glad to be back. She also high-fived Kathy Kelly. They came out there and did their thing, you know, because I think Dakota Kai, she talked about as well how she had 3 months taken off her career due to Pure Fusion Collective taking them out. So that was definitely highlighted. But yeah, this was her first match back since August. Now this match here, it really was nothing to talk about. I'll be honest with you guys. This match was literally talking about the comeback of Dakota Kai. I mean, let's be honest, Shayna really was in the match, and her, Zoe Stark and Sonya Deville really didn't do nothing. It came out looking like demonic, like a demonic group, honestly, when they came out, especially Sonya. If you look at the entrance when Pure Fusion Collective came out, they look so demonic, look so evil there. There really nothing was to talk about in this match. This match was really nothing to brag about. I really didn't see no big deal in this match between the 6-woman tag. Really was whack to me. Like I said, it was all about Dakota coming back, which I'm glad she's back. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad she's back. But long story short, Io Sky, her and Damage CTRL, they won the match. Damage CTRL defeated Pure Fusion Collective, and she did, Io Sky do the moonsault, she do the Genius of the Sky, everything. But that was the end of that match. Not much to talk there. We'll get on to the next part of this show. Now the next match on the card was Kofi Kingston versus Pete Dunne. Now this is a quick match. Started backstage. Kofi and Xavier are still at odds. Now Kofi, he came out to thank R-Truth for helping out a couple weeks ago, and this way Xavier Woods saw Kofi talking about him, saying, "I don't know why Woods didn't let me help you," while he's trying to restrict me from helping R-Truth. And then after the match, after that whole dispute with Xavier and Kofi, Pete Dunne came out as R-Truth was making fun of Butch, and Kofi said, let's make a match then. Pete Dunne to keep his mouth quiet, and they had a match. Now, as you can see, New Day, they're really teasing this whole breakup here, as we can see clearly. And also that we saw that Kofi really made Pete Dunne look good. Pete Dunne, he was taking L's left and right. However, we know that New Day, since this whole disagreement between Kofi and Xavier, they really haven't won that many matches. Xavier, he wins off luck or taking advantage. Kofi has been losing. And as we see that, it was a distraction. And it allowed P. Dunne to hit the bitter end on him. And yes, P. Dunne has defeated Kofi Kingston one-on-one. So we see that. Afterwards, Kofi and Xavier was talking. As you know, Xavier had put his hands on P. Dunne on the match. Kofi didn't appreciate that. He pushed Xavier off, and these guys are going at it. So they're really, really teasing the breakup of New Day. And the 10-year anniversary of the New Day being formed comes up later this month. So yeah, we definitely got that. Pure Future, Kofi loops to Pete Dunne. Let's get on to the next part of the show, please. Let's move on. We got Bronson Reed cut a promo. Now you know him and Seth Rollins be going at it. You know they've been going back and forth and back and forth. And he came out. He said the visionary, the revolutionary Seth Rollins, come on out here. And Seth came out there because Bronson Reed said, "I am not a competitor. I'm a monster." And Seth Rollins came out. He immediately went for Bronson Reed. It was going back and forth, and it seemed like we was gonna get a tsunami from Bronson Reed to Seth, but Seth Rollins got out the way. He cut that off real quick, and then it was just security breaking him up. And then we know later on that backstage, after being broken up by security and officials, Seth Rollins went back to Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce said, "I'm tired of this between you and him." And Seth said, "You know what I want, Pearce, stop playing around." And Pearce made a match official. He said, "You know what? I'm sick of this too. Next week, it will be you versus Bronson Reed one-on-one." So next week, Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins will have their one-on-one match. Their second match since Crown Jewel. So we'll see what happens there. Again, I know there are spoilers out there. You don't have to discuss it. I know about the spoilers. I know. I'm just going off the story here. So we're gonna talk about that. That will be another match between these two. So that was the end of Bronson Reed promo. Very intense promo, I want to say. Very, very intense promo. I like Bronson Reed that trying to, at least keep him build, at least trying to make him look good. I like how they're doing that. And that's what they should be doing. We get too much of the whole looking weak out here. Get too much of that as is. Other than that, though, that was the end of that promo. We're gonna move on to a one-on-one match. Damian Priest versus Kaiser. Let me see. They had a match. Give me to that match in a second. Now, Damian Priest had a match against Ludwig Kaiser. They did have a match. Now, this match, as we know, came from earlier. This is all because Kaiser wants to stick his nose where it does not belong. And we know that Kaiser, he's pretty much in the middle of this whole thing, to be honest. He's pretty much in the middle of it. I don't know how to explain it. He's right in the middle of the whole scenario, if that makes sense. Since he is in the middle of it, it remains to be seen how they're going to do this. But other than that, though, you got to understand too that they're continuing to build Damian Priest as a contender. He is a former world heavyweight champion. We can't forget about that. And since he is a former heavyweight champion and competing for the world title, he got to continue to be built properly. And like I said, he looked very, very dominant in this match against Kaiser. Very dominant. Kaiser had a little offense, but it was mostly Damian Priest who had the power, the force, and everything. It mostly came down to that. So, we got to definitely see more about that. But this match was not long. It was not a long match at all. We pretty much knew where this match was going to go. Other than that, though, Damian Priest dominated. But it was a good dominating match. And it didn't make Kaiser look bad either. And Damian Priest defeated Lou with Kaiser one-on-one. So this was a good one. I will say this, that with Kaiser losing like this, it's definitely going to show the disappointment that Gunther's going to have for him. Continue disappointment. Remember last week, Gunther cut that promo, and he looked at Kaiser. He's talking about disappointment and losing. He's looking dead at him that things have to change. Things have to change. So we talking about New Day to split up and all that. We got to remember Imperium, which is not only Gunther and Kaiser, they're going to split as well. So we got to keep that in mind. Definitely keep that in mind. But this was a good, strong win for Damian Priest. Very good, strong win. Now it was short. It was short, but it was a good, strong win. Very good, strong. But let's get on to another part of the match. Now, right here, we had Karrion Kross threatens The Miz. Backstage before this whole battle happened, Miz was confronted by Karrion Kross. He said, "Hey, where's the YS6?" That's all Karrion Kross kept asking him. Miz said, "I don't know. I told YS6, told Uncle Howdy pretty much, I'm sorry for what I've done. Leave me alone." He basically pleaded for his life. And as we know that he came out and, Karrion Kross wouldn't stop. He said, "Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I mean, where are the YS6? And I know you know where they at." And Karrion Kross told him, "If you don't tell me where they at, I'm going to do like I said weeks ago. I'm going to break your legs." So with that being said, AOP grabbed him, and he also mentioned how Paul Ellering took the sacrifice for Miz, brought him to the ring, and then YS6 came out, and while YS6 was facing the final testament in the ring, stable versus stable, face to face, Miz went and grabbed the chair. He hit Uncle Howdy in the back of the chair, or was it Eric Rowan? He attacked YS6 with the chair, if you guys know what I mean. And we knew that this was all ploy from Miz and Karrion Kross as they hugged each other, saw the little blood on Miz's eye and all of that. So other than that, though, this was a setup for, we got a few, as I figured, I said this weeks ago, YS6 didn't have nobody else to feud with after the whole being done American Made. They're going to have to feud with another heel tag team of stable, and that is, we know, as the Final Testament. But this is a future feud setup, definitely. Because Miz was abducted last week. So yeah, Gunther is a beast. Yep, Miz Uncle Howdy soon. Yep, definitely. Now we got the main event. The main event tonight is the Women's Tag Team Championship match. We got the champions Bianca Belair, Jade, Cargill versus the challengers, which is Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Now this match here, this was a very interesting match. We saw here that it was pretty much Bianca kicked off the match for her team, and it was against Liv. Bianca dominated, did everything. Many people predicted, including me, that Jade and Bianca was going to lose. But it seemed like it was going to be some interference. And we got interference during the matchup between Jade and Bianca versus Liv and Raquel. Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton from SmackDown came. Now they attacked. They went and attacked Jade Cargill. Nia attacked Jade Cargill. They attacked Bianca. However, Tiffany came and attacked too. However, Naomi came down while Tiffany was at the apron with the referee trying to strike the referee. Naomi from SmackDown came down and attacked her. And it was just a big brawl. However, since it wasn't a distraction, Bianca got the pinfall after a KOD. And yes, Bianca and Jade are still the women's tag team champions. Definitely. And after all that, it was a brawl. You see EO in there, Naomi, Bianca, Jade. It was all fighting out against Liv, Raquel, Tiffany, and Nia. And this is how the Raw closed out. It was the end of Monday Night Raw. More likely, it's going to be a women's War Games match, since we had 3 people from SmackDown come to Raw, and the likes of Naomi, Nia Jax, and Tiffany Stratton. So we're definitely going to get that match at War Games. I don't know if it's going to be 5 versus 5 on 5 or 4 on 4. That I'm not sure, but we know a match is going to come. Definitely know. Yep, definitely going to be War Games. So other than that, though, guys, that was the end of Monday Night Raw. And the Bloodline recruit Seth Rollins. Let's get to the review. Now, based off what we saw here, the review I give for Raw, 4 out of 5. Solid show. And I'll go over the things I liked actually before I go over what went wrong with Raw. Before I go over that, I liked the strong promo for Bronson Reed. I did like that. I like the Kofi versus P. Dunne match. I even like the Damian Priest and Kaiser, even though it was short. It did a good job building Damian Priest up as a number 1 contender for the world title. And I like that part of the show. I also like the backstage segment. Remember that we had some good backstage segments. You know, the Kofi and Xavier, that's building up. The Karrion Kross Miz and Uncle Howdy, which is going to be YS6 versus Final Testament. I like that. However, there's some things I didn't like. We'll get to it right now. Then after that, we'll get to the current news. But other than that, this was a solid, fair show. So, like I said, we're prepared for Survivor Series. But let's get into that shortly. And you also, guys, vote right now. You can vote right now to see what did people say about the show of Monday Night Raw. You can also get to that as well. A lot of people have voted on Raw. Normally on my channel, I do a poll there. I normally ask everybody, what would you grade Raw? What would you grade Monday Night Raw? You guys get a chance to check it out. Some people liked the show. Some people didn't. Like I said, it was some others back, and then mostly the recruiting process. That was another part of the show as well. So we can't forget about that too. Other than that, though, guys, you guys let me know what you think. Like I said, if you always vote on that, I get quite a lot of people voting on the whole. When it comes to the whole panel there, I mean, the whole, I think, of Monday Night Raw for that episode. And if you guys look right now, whenever you do get a chance to look, you go to the community tab and you can look and see what people said about Raw here. Now, as we see here, 62% of people said A, 26% gave it a B, C gave it 8%, and D or F only 4%. So, you guys got an opportunity to take a look at that. With that being said, guys, let's go over what went wrong with Raw. Now, normally, despite the rating, like I gave this one, I always go over a few things that I noticed on this episode of Monday Night Raw. What I didn't like, what could have been done to make things better. So with that being said, I'm going to go talk about that. So let's do that. All right, let's begin. And then, of course, current news, then bonus round. All right. Number 1, almost forgot about the YS6 guys. Now, despite this being a dominant stable, one of the most dominant stables on Raw, they barely seen on TV. They only had rivalries against American Made and now Final Testament. We really don't see them enough on TV like we should. So I have an issue with that. We're going to build YS6 as a very dominant force, a very dominant stable, that they should be shown on television a little bit more. At least, for the storyline and everything. We see them every couple weeks. We don't do nothing. We really can't buy over to how this is a dominant stable. So that's my issue with the YS6. They should be on Raw a little bit more. a little bit less of other stables, or they can switch off. Because on Raw we have YS6. On Raw we have LWO. We have Damage CTRL. We have all of that. All of it. I just think things should be a little bit different as far as that goes. That's how I would do it. I don't know how you guys would think, but I wouldn't do things that way. So that was one of my issues. And if I got an issue with something, I gotta call it out the best way possible, and we know where it's going.
You just made the list!
So that makes the list. However, it's not the only thing I saw wrong. A few other things. Now, despite this being a good way to build Damian Priest, I like the story that they was doing. But you know what? I'm kind of indifferent with this one. It was an okay match. I wish this match wasn't as quick, but I get what they were trying to do. And this was Priest versus Kaiser. I'll get to it. I wish it was a little bit longer. It seemed like maybe 5 minutes. I like how he beat Kaiser, man. It's just a little bit quick. But I get what they was trying to do with Damian. It was just a little bit too fast. Like I said, I even said before, when I did like the match, I thought it was a little bit too quick. I don't know if it was because it's a 2-hour program right now. That was my only pushback with this particular match. I like the story. I like everything they're doing. I really do. I just wish it wasn't that short. Could have been a little bit longer. Stretch it out a little bit, why don't you? But that's not how they did it. You know, that's cool. That's fine. But that's how things go. That's my only issue with this particular matchup. And we already know what happens when it goes like that.
You just made the list!
All right, that's one thing I saw. Another thing I saw that's really bothering me. This is bothering me more than anything else. And this don't even get talked about. Maybe I'm going to enlighten you guys and let you see for yourself. This whole Bloodline team member recruiting story is getting a little old. And we're talking about for Survivor Series 2024 War Games. Now, we got on, I'm gonna talk more about this with the bonus round, but I just see this is getting old. Now, Roman, his team need one more member. Solo's team need one more member. OG Bloodline versus current Bloodline. I get that. Now, on this episode of Raw, which I really didn't talk about that much in the review, I'm going to talk about it now. I didn't talk about it earlier. Sami Zayn said he was going to try to get Seth Rollins on their team. Jimmy Uso tried to get Braun Breaker on his team. Neither one. Seth said no. Braun Breaker, he didn't say anything. And Solo tried to get Seth on his team as well. And I'm seeing a pattern here. Now, if you guys remember for Survivor Series last year, they ran with the same story, rinse and repeat. If you guys remember, this was done last year, it really was. If you guys don't remember on Raw for the team of Cody, it was pretty much the same people. It was Cody, Seth, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and a return of Randy Orton. And remember, we had Cody Rhodes talk to Seth Rollins. Now, it was no recruitment, but it's always the recruitment or the whole story. I know we don't get along, but let's Memphis is for this one night to take out so we can defeat the other team. And it's getting quite old. If you guys, like I said, pay attention on the episode of Raw in the same time frame as last year, in the weeks leading up to Survivor Series War Games. Remember, Cody said the same thing to Seth about trying to come to an agreement or to a recruitment. Let's get everything on the same page for Survivor Series.
The War Games. I need you, and the team needs you. The enemy.
And that was Cody Rhodes talking to Seth Rollins. We know that Cody and Seth has not been getting along, since Cody's been back. They had 3 matches against each other before the tour pack of Cody Rhodes. He asked Seth Rollins, the team needs you. Let's get on the same page. Let's defeat the other team. So I feel like they're doing the same story this year. Same story. Yes, I know it's not asked to be on the same page, but it's still recruiting someone. And remember, Seth, he was recruited, and it's always coming towards Seth Rollins, I noticed. It's always coming towards Seth. We see this a lot. He said similar to Solo about joining his team or whatever. It's some type of asking. It's always some type of selling point, if that makes sense. Every year, it's a selling point to join the team or mend fences every year.
The next time I'm in the ring with Roman Reigns, it will be to stomp his head.
The war game.
The next time I'm in the ring with Roman Reigns, it will be to stomp his head into the ground.
And that's what Seth Rollins said to Solo when Solo tried to recruit him. So like I said, we run with the story so much. Recruiting, some type of selling point to get someone to be on the same page or get whatever it is. I'm getting quite sick of it. And this is where it comes down to when I get tired of something, when I see a pattern, when I see rinse and repeat, it goes on the list.
You just made the list!
So that's the biggest thing. And I'm going to get into that in a second. We'll get to that in a second, actually. Matter of fact, we'll talk about that now before we get to the bonus round, which will be about Damian and Gunther. Now, speaking of which, let's get to that now, actually. Does War Games need a 5th man? And that's what we're talking about right now. Speaking of Survivor Series, we're going to see each team needs one more man. And this has been going around. Like I said, I know Raw is some spoilers, but each team needs one more guy. And I think I got the way I will book it to how each man will be beneficial towards each team or who's the best man for each team. So, question is, who is the 5th man for the OG Bloodline? Who's the man that you pick? We just discussed it. More likely, I got my money on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins will be the 5th man of this team. Think about it. Anytime someone said, I'm not going to join Roman Reigns, anytime they say I'm not going to get on that team, they somehow find a way to be on that team. So expect Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Sami, and Seth Rollins. Since he's not going to join Solo, I don't see him going to the heel side. He more likely is going to be on the 5th man of Roman Reigns' team. Despite him saying he'll never join Roman, we already know that's you're going to find your way back team with Roman. That's the whole thing of the story. So I see that going down. I don't see it going any other way, honestly. But they're going to run with that narrative. Seth will be the 5th man for that team. Mark my words. He will be the 5th man for that team. I don't see why he wouldn't be. It only makes sense for him to be the 5th man for that team. So we got to keep that in mind. So since he's the 5th man for the OG Bloodline squad, since he's the OG Bloodline, now we got to figure out for the other side of the team. If Seth's going to be on this team of the OG Bloodline, question is, who is the 5th man for Bloodline 2.0? So we got to find somebody for that team. You can't have 4-on-5. Who would be the man to take that side? If Seth's on one side of the ring, somebody got to be on the second side of the other ring. So who's the person to take that spot? Who's the man to do that? It will be who Seth Rollins is beef with right now. If I had to pick, Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed will be on the team of Solo, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa. And he actually fits with this team better. I could see him easily being on this team better. So it will make sense to do it that way. Some people think that's not the case, but I would say it is. I would say it is, honestly. It will make sense to do it that way. But I got Bronson Reed joining forces with those two. If Seth's going to be on one side of the ring, Bronson Reed going to be on the other side of the ring. And he will be with that squad. So I would not be surprised if they're going to do it like that. At least that's how I would do it. It will make sense to do that. So that's how I would do it. I don't really see anybody else to do that. Bronson Reed would make so much sense to do that. I don't see why they wouldn't have him for that. But Bronson Reed will be on the opposite team. That's how that will work out. And I think Bronson will be fine. Bronson will be fine. Seth will be fine. These two are going to find a way to be in a Survivor Series War Games match. Now, I know, like I said, Raw's recorded, it's pre-taped, but I could expect these two to get somehow involved. I don't see anybody else on the Raw roster to get involved unless someone's coming back. I don't think it's CM Punk or Drew McIntyre. They don't make sense for the story. I don't see Braun Strowman making sense. The names we haven't seen on Raw, I don't see how that will make sense, honestly. They're not going to be the ones to do that. They're not. If you want to admit or not, it don't make sense to do that for each side. So that would be a no. And when they do that, we will have our whole 5-on-5. Now, I will say this. Do War Games really need a fifth man? No. This team is actually fine the way it is. Because this Survivor Series is normally a 4-on-4 team. War Games, yes, you have that, but you really don't need War Games for that. War Games is really for an NXT, not so much for the main roster. And I think, honestly, NXT should get War Games back. Survivor Series is so good, the history, and you have such a loaded roster for men and women, you really don't need it. You know, but like I said, I just think a fifth man is not needed in this. You don't need it. And the reason I say that too, I saw last year's Survivor Series. I saw that as well. You really didn't need that type of thing. I think it was kind of overloaded. So I think a fifth man probably maybe over. Oh, it'll be over. It'll be too much. But that's how I would see that. Also, before we do get to bonus round, that's all I have for the who's going to be the fifth man for each team. Bloodline OG Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0 or the new Bloodline or just Bloodline. We'll go over next week's matches, guys. Next week's matches, yes, we have Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed, 1-on-1 match. We also have Sheamus versus Braun Breaker, who they had the interaction backstage. 1-on-1 match for Braun Breaker's Intercontinental Championship. Oh, that design is hideous, but that's another story for another day. But these are the next week's matches that are announced. So that's what they're going to run with. That's fine. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. However, we're going to end things here. Round one is pretty much over. We have WWE Raw as the Bloodlines recruit Seth Rollins. We talked about the Raw. We talked about what went wrong with Raw. We talked about We talk about the grading, and we're talking about current news. So I'll look over a few days before we do get to the bonus round. Tyler, you said I got questions for you about women U.S. Championship. Is SmackDown or Raw? For what I've heard, Tyler, if you check out my video, I made a video about it. It's supposed to be on both brands. That's what they're getting at. Could be defended on both Raw and SmackDown. From what I hear, similar to how the women's tag team titles are being defended right now. But other than that, though, guys, we are going to get on to that bonus round there. We're going to talk about Survivor Series. So let's get that going. Give me a couple moments and we get that going. All right, we here. We are here. We'll go over the bonus round here. Bonus round, if you guys don't know, I normally go with bonus round after every show to go to the next part of everything. So bonus round this time will be about Damian Priest versus Gunther. And I'm asking the question, will Damian win the world title again? He is a number one contender for this world title. So this is an announcement that's been made last week on Monday Night Raw. And now we're going to have this one-on-one match. Because Gunther, we do know, is the world champion. We do know that Gunther's been holding the championship since SummerSlam. And Gunther's the one that ended Damian Priest's run as champion. And they're really starting to build up Gunther. Now we know that these guys have it's their second matchup. We're aware of that. But we're gonna see how these guys are going to line up against each other. Can Damian bring it home? Can he do it again? The only time will tell. We'll say that in the match here that Damian Priest had, he looked very dominant. He do look like he could defeat Gunther for his world title. Like I said, Damian Priest, he's actually been cooking Gunther on promos lately. He's been getting to Gunther, and Gunther's been getting him too. But as we see, Gunther is starting to look kind of weak. Starting to look kind of weak there. But it's so crazy that things have changed since the last time Gunther and Damian was in the ring one-on-one against one another. Things have changed so much over this time. You know, we are so used to seeing Damian Priest being the one standing tall as champion, but now it's Gunther standing as champion. Not so much Damian anymore. And like I said, Damian looks like he could be booked to win the title. He looked very strong. He has the most momentum going into Survivor Series. Because if we do remember last time, like I said, it was Damian that was holding the world title. Gunther was a challenger. Now we got here that now it's Gunther holding the world title and Damian being the challenger. Well, I gotta admit though, like I said, Gunther will have his hands full with Damian Priest. And I don't expect this to be a dominant matchup where Gunther just dominates Damian through the whole match. No interference from Finn Balor. That's like Damian sent a promo. That's what helped you to win the world title in the very first place. And he was not lying when he said that. He was actually spitting facts on that. But since Damian, he said nothing to the Gunther, you looking vulnerable, don't look as strong. Is this a sign that Gunther world title is ending soon? Because I do not see Gunther hold that title past WrestleMania. Actually, WrestleMania would be the longest I've seen with the title. Because Gunther, as we see, is transitioning from heel to babyface. We saw that with the whole interaction with Kaiser. We saw that whole interaction there. We saw where that was going. Because Kaiser, he kind of upset at Gunther. Now, I will say this. I'm just throwing this out there. This could possibly, and I'm saying possibly, cost Gunther the world title. And where I'm alluding to what's going to cost Gunther the world title, I will say that there's going to be a key factor in that. And the key factor I'm talking about right now, he could be a key factor. It's similar to Finn Balor and Damian Priest. It's literally deja vu. But it's not deja vu. Similar situation, different characters. And I'm going to tell you right now, during the match between Damian and Gunther for the world title at Survivor Series, do not be surprised if we get an X Factor, someone coming out to the ring during the match. His name is Ludwig Kaiser, which we never, ever see in any Gunther's world title matches or when he was Intercontinental Champion. He normally is not in these matches when it comes to Gunther defending the title or competing for a title, any title. But we could see Kaiser maybe interfere in this match inadvertently or close to costing Gunther the World Heavyweight Champion. It will be very interesting if we went and saw Kaiser get involved in this match and it end up causing Damian to become World Heavyweight Champion once again. Gunther could lose the title to that, and then later it leads to a feud between Kaiser and Gunther. Gunther is transitioning to a babyface, just like Damian Priest was going to be a babyface while he was heel. It seemed like Gunther's world title is not that much different from Damian. And I'm not talking about the match, I'm talking about the character, the run, period. Damian went from being a heel to babyface, cashing the Money Back contract at WrestleMania 40 against, Drew McIntyre. Then we have Gunther, who won the title because he won the King of the Ring, which is very controversial with Randy Orton. And Finn Balor, screwed Damian Priest to help him become champion. And maybe Kaiser be the one to screw Gunther and why Gunther could lose the title. Just like Finn Balor costed Damian. So it could very well go down there. If Kaiser come down during that match, now he doesn't have to necessarily screw Gunther, but he could get close to like Gunther barely making it out of Survivor Series as world champion. I could very well see that happening too. If that's the case, it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see. So let's not sleep on that. But I could see Gunther definitely going to be beefing with Kaiser. But this would be very interesting. I think Gunther and Damian Priest doing a match, they're going to have a good equal amount of offense. Gunther would try to sleeper hold on Damian. Damian not going to he's not going to get Damian with a sleeper. It's going to be a distraction from Kaiser. He can get a pinfall after a power bomb because Damian is just equally as big as Gunther. They're both tall by 6'4". I think Damian may be a little bit tall, 6'5". These guys definitely have what it takes to put on a good match if the booking is done right. I could very well see that happening with these guys. But do not sleep on Kaiser. And don't sleep on these two. These two can have a good match. Damon's a good competitor. Gunther's a great competitor. They're both great competitors. It's just the book, it got to be done right. So I will say that Kaiser will be playing a role. If it don't end a Survivor Series, it will be a role to why Gunther lose the world title, period. And I can see that happening because that's where they're going with it. I mean, honestly, tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'm tired of being nice. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
So these two definitely can go at it. Definitely have a reason to go at it. Put on a great match. Well, Gunther, he's been champion now for 3 months. I think Damian, I believe, was champ for 4 months. So we'll see what happens with Gunther, because I really didn't expect Gunther to win the World Heavyweight Championship till probably early next year. But see, as he has the title now, he's not going to have it for too much longer because he won that due to being in, help book the Bash in Berlin, which was near his home country. But keep in mind, I would say Damian Priest is going to give Gunther a run for some money. I'm just saying. I would say he's going to have a run for his money. Now, Gunther's been champion, as we know, just for 100 days. Damian Priest was only champ for 118 days. So we'll see how this is going to go. It's going to be a good matchup. It'll probably be an opening match or a middle on the card because you got the War Games match for men and women's. But it'll be somewhere in the middle of the card. That's another reason this championship may not get as much attention as it should, but it's definitely going to be something to talk about. So I can't wait to see how they're going to do this one. It's going to be interesting. But I'm not saying Gunther's going to automatically lose, but it's a chance he may lose, and Damian's like a very good threat to that championship. That's all I'm saying regarding that. It could be very well the case with that. I don't see how it can go any other way when it comes to that championship. But we're going to see how these guys going to do. I do see Gunther definitely giving a whooping on Damian. Expect chops everywhere. Expect all that going on. But only till then. We got to get prepared for that. That's all I have regarding why will Damian win world title again. Will he become World Heavyweight Champion for a second time in his career? Will Gunther barely make it out? Will Gunther have some interference to cost him the title? Only time we'll see. But thank you guys for coming out, though, as we prepare for Survivor Series November 30th. Soon as the videos will pop up, you guys click the links below. You guys already know what it is at this point. It is OUT.
Like I say this a lot, we're not a sport, we're a movie about a sport or a TV show about a sport, right? So the interest of all the other...
I feel like the heel turn did wonders for me. There was a sense of reality in that, to where I had hit a point, and the babyface stuff was going great. The Alpha Academy stuff was going great. We had a blast with that. But I'm a realist, and I'm also like a long-term thinker.